to talk about Graham Potter today, and it feels a little bit fraudulent to do so, perhaps, because by all accounts, a lot of people seem to think that yesterday was a bit better. People that I respect, people whose West Ham opinion I expect, they said, get the message, get the text. That's better, isn't it? A bit better. I don't know. I didn't like any of it, not from the start, from when the starting lineup came out, when Gio read me the starting lineup, the build-up show. You probably would have been able to tell. Wasn't particularly impressed with it. Thought it was overly cautious. It all seems very familiar. That's the truth of the matter. Albeit familiar, but without a strike. If you'd have stuck Mikel Antonio as the cherry on top of that, that would have seemed very, very familiar indeed. And there's a lot of people talking about the positives, and none more so than Graham Potter himself. And there was a comment on yesterday's video, the review that I did immediately after the game. And it was from Dean Hodges. You have to excuse me, Dean. I haven't got the graphics and stuff to show you a comment, but it's Dean Hodges. And he pretty much said, I'm getting sick of listening to Potter constantly going on about the positives. I think he said something like, the facts of the matter is he's taken us from 13th to 17th. And I've got to say, I'm getting a little bit tired of the positives as well. Because, well, not the actual positives. The actual positives I like. I'm getting sick of hearing about them. He talks a good game, Potter. He talks a good game. Unfortunately, as of yet, he's not delivered one. There's 13 games, 3 wins. And you'll excuse me if I'm not overly buoyed or effervescent, because we haven't lost as badly against Liverpool as the last guy might have done. We're still crap. And Liverpool did just enough. They did what they had to do. That wasn't a surprise. If you were with myself and Gio on the build-up show, I said on that show, this will not be a thrashing because Liverpool will not need to get out of third gear. They swarmed over us at the start. They did what they needed to do to get into the lead. They should nearly got some more goals. And then they took their foot off the gas. They started to coast, trying to coast towards the league title. But also locally, they were trying to coast within the game. The one time they got into a little bit of bother, where it looked like that league table might be slipping away from them, they went back up into third gear again and they scored. I think it was a case of, oh my goodness, look, we can't have this being a draw. Let's get that goal. They willed it. They wanted it. It happened. So I can't hail this as a milestone, as a turning point. Look what West Ham did up at Anfield. It's not for me. I'm not furious about the performance. I thought we did okay. I thought we might have merited a draw. But that's what good teams do, right? They get a result that they don't necessarily deserve. We don't do that, by the way. We don't do that at all. And just sort of going back to these positives that Potter has. Potter has to talk a good game because he doesn't have the evidence to show you and to demonstrate and say, look, there's a league table. No talking needed. I'll let the league table do the talking. Well, he can't, because that speaks badly. That does some bad old talking, that league table. So he has to say, well, despite, ignore that for a minute. And then the positives, we're defending a little bit better. We're staying in game. So that's one of the things he says a lot. We remain competitive in games. We're always in the game. And that maybe wasn't happening before. There were some games where, team was scoring loads of goals and we're just out of the game. And to be fair, it was happening last season as well. What he's saying is it's almost like a goal. That's pretty much what he's saying, to paraphrase him. We're always only a goal away. We're staying in a game. We're staying competitive. Well, that's okay, but there's still not really a measurement. The measurement is that we're losing games. We lost 3 games. So we won 3 games in 13. There are positives that some players are getting better. Or maybe Mohamed Kudus, he's getting better, isn't he? He's hit the post and stuff now. I mean, not scoring goals, not, but it's so much anecdotal stuff, and it has to be the anecdotal stuff and the anecdotal positives, because the facts are poor. And this goes back to the uncomfortable truth that Samantha Gio mentioned a week or week or 3 ago, which is if Graham Potter was the caretaker manager, if Graham Potter would have only got the 6-month deal and he pushed for the 2.5-year deal, if he'd have only got the 6-month deal and he was a caretaker manager, he wouldn't be getting the job. West Ham would already be right now recruiting, interviewing, and targeting. Well, we probably wouldn't because we're not that quick with that stuff, but we'd have our eyes on who was going to be our next manager. It would be a case of thanks, but no thanks, Graham. You've had a little go, and it'd be a bit of a sigh of relief. He's not taking us down, although we have dropped like a stone. So the only thing that is keeping Graham Potter in his job is not his excellence, it's the fact that in the end he got a 2.5-year deal rather than a 6-month deal. It is the length of term on his contract rather than what he has proven or his ability. Now, I think, I mean, so he was 13th when we came in. To my memory might be patchy. Either Man U or Tottenham were behind us. Maybe they were both. Everton certainly were. Crystal Palace were. Wolves were. And they've all gone. They've all gone. And the Wolves one was predictable. I said it on air 3 weeks ago. Wolves are catchers. I mean, it was very predictable. In fact, I said in the build-up show, I said Liverpool are just playing out time until they win the title in the same way that West Ham are just playing out time until Wolves overtake us. And it's where we deserve to be. We are. If you think about those teams, all the teams above us, they are all better than us. Bournemouth, Brentford, any of these teams. Crystal Palace are so much better than us. It's unbelievable. You couldn't compare Glasner to Graham Potter, but you don't need to. Just try and, what's his name? Vitor Pereira. Is that the Wolves guy? Well, he's better than Potter, right? We can't argue. That's not an argument. That's not an argument. I'm not suggesting I'm pointing at you. I'm not suggesting you're going to argue with it. But if somebody were to say, well, no, Potter's better. I think I would. I think I don't win the argument. I'm a West Ham fan. We're losing it, but I think so. We have no evidence to suggest that we have the right guy in place. Now, to think that we do, you have to have faith. There's a belief, isn't there? And the belief seems to be twofold, that next season he'll get his players in or the tactics will change. And a bit of both. That somehow he's keeping it under wraps. And maybe he's got a book. He's got a tactical playbook with the sneaky stuff. That's the good stuff in the playbook. That is the masterful stuff. Going to leave that there. Going to tuck that under. That comes out next season. You wait till they see that. They won't know what's hit them. Iraola and Glasner and Pereira. Oh, yeah. When they get the playbook, that'll be something. We can't do it now because we don't have the players. But next season, we get the really good players. Honestly, it's crazy. It's crazy. You think we had Pat Butcher and David Attenborough in midfield or something. I would humbly suggest that over the last 3 games, Lucas Paqueta has been our best player. In fact, we can go back and check that. We can check statistically. If you go on our Patreon player ratings, by the way, if you want a bit more of this moaning, you can sign up to Patreon. Great way for you guys to support Hammers Chat. Really appreciate it. Links in the description below. You can either do the 7-day free trial or you can sign up for £3.60 a month is our lowest tier. Get loads of additional content. Anyway, one of the things we do is our player ratings, and Stephen very kindly collates all the numbers for us. I think if I were to look back on the last 3 games, he's either been the best or the second best player in the last 3 games, would be Lucas Paqueta. He looked like the one player capable of that could probably get into that Liverpool team on the showing of that game, at least. Yet somehow, so most people would concede he's probably not going to be here next season. Yet we won't have him, but we're better next season, right? We got some really good players. Paqueta's one of them. Bowen's another one. Kudus is another one. I know he's not flavour of the month at the moment, but he's a really good player. I dare say some of those managers, because you know this in your hearts be true. If Kudus went and played for Palace under Glasner, he's scoring goals, right? You're not having the situation you've got now as a good player. Wan-Bissaka's a brilliant player. We've got some really, really good players. Todibo, we've got some good players at West Ham. They're not total crap. Oh, but he's got to get his players next season. So he gets the tactical play, but get the tactics next season and the good players. Well, okay. But that requires faith, doesn't it? Blind faith as well. Because we've got no evidence this season to suggest that that's going to happen. He's a guy that struggles to score goals. Well, his teams do. We've been through the stats. Go and look at the stats. Go and look at the stats. I think first season at Brighton, 40 goals. Second season, 46 goals. Third season wasn't much better. He struggles. And this at West Ham, he struggles to score goals. Yet we're meant to believe that there's some new super tactic, some new style of play, the new sneaky formation. We'll see that next season. That's going to be the goal scoring one. Because he talks about that, doesn't he? He says, "Oh, I want to attack and I want to do this and I want to do that." And he says that, and then he doesn't play a striker. He's got two of them there. Got Fulkrug and he's got Ferguson. One of them he chased all transfer. Well, not, for the half of the transfer window that he was here. They must have one. You've got to have that Ferguson. Suit perfectly. Really good. Fit, ready to go. Played 20 minutes before we signed him against Nottingham Forest, remember? I've only seen him sign one player. And that's Evan Ferguson. He's got that wrong. He didn't sign players at Brighton, didn't sign players at Chelsea. Couldn't tell you what happened at Ostersund's, couldn't tell you what happened at Swansea. But he didn't sign players there. He's never signed a single bloody player in his life. Now, we can hope that next season's going to be better, but you don't have any evidence for it. That's blind faith again. And I'm not a one for blind faith. I'm not that type of person, to be honest with you. I need to see a little bit of evidence. I like to see a little bit of evidence. So a lot of the time, it feels a little bit like spin. It feels a little bit like propaganda. So it's a case, well, don't look over there. Look at this good stuff that I'm promising. Don't look at the facts. Because we said that we'd like to win. Of course. We'd like to win. Look, it sounds like I'm very down and very anti Graham Potter. It's not. I'm not down. I'm not particularly down about it. I just don't want to be. I think it's in the Outlaw Josie Wales. Have you ever seen that Clint Eastwood film, The Outlaw Josie Wales? He says to him, "Don't piss down my back and tell me it's raining." And I feel that's what's happening at the moment. Don't serve up this crap, and I don't want the razzmatazz to go with it. And then I need to see some evidence that it's getting better. And look, he's got to win against Southampton. That would be a start. And I just feel it's not that I am unhappy with the small improvements that I saw against Liverpool, but they are, when weighed against everything I've just said, they are small things. It's not that I'm unhappy about them. One of the criticisms, and he gets stung by it. He does not like the criticisms, by the way. He does not like them. When it's pointed out, he doesn't score enough goals. And as I said, that was prevalent at Brighton. But it's not just he doesn't score enough goals. There was the situation where Sky Sports were running it, and they've run it twice. They've done the big presentation. There's a geezer there with his stick and his clicky thing, and he's stood in front of a 12-foot screen. The worst attacks in the Premier Leagues, and they're not holding back at the top of the graphic since Graham Potter took over at West Ham. And we're the lowest, but in the two, I guess the two metrics that count, which are the shots and the shots on target, both. We're the lowest in both. The average shots a game was 9.6, which made us the lowest and the least attacking team in the league. But the other metrics are consistent in that. And when I say the other metrics, how much time you spend in the final third and so on, and then progressive passes. And look, I'm not one for. I don't study that stuff. I don't know this stuff very well at all. But I don't believe anyone lies about it. So if someone says that West Ham are... So I think the two metrics that count, we're 20th in the league. And I think all the other progressive metrics, we're 17th in the league. We're bang right. We're exactly where we should be. But Potter doesn't like it. And so the average shots per game was 9.6. I'm not going to start. I'm not going to have a street party because we usually average 10 against Liverpool. We had 11 shots. I'm not. And I think that's it. I'm just reining it in. I think there's a few too many people. But you can do what you want. It's up to you. You can believe what you want. But I don't want to be. Don't you know? I know what I believe, and I'm not entirely sure we've turned a corner. I need to see it. It's that blind faith thing again. Because at the moment, I've obviously, well, Amorim is not doing particularly well at Manchester United. But well, I think when they took over, we were pretty even Stevens. Well, they're above us. As bad as he is, they're better than us. I know it's Man United. Tottenham, Ange, poor old Ange. And I say poor old Ange. I think he's suffering. I think he's not happy. He don't want to be in there. He's got he thinks the world's against him. Ange Postecoglou. He was when he came in. He was that cheeky chappy Aussie geezer calling everyone mate. He loved it. Everyone was raving about him. He was like a breath of fresh air. That's what people used to say about Ange. Breath of fresh air. He looks tired. He looks worn out. He looks miserable. He's got a persecution complex. And he's getting a lot wrong. He's awful. They're awful. Tottenham are awful. Ange is awful. Well, they're still better than us. And we're really, really bad. And once again, it's that case of, well, don't look at the whole league table. Next season will be all right, won't it? Got new players coming in, or the good ones. Not like the crap ones that we got now. The good ones come next season. No, and I say that. I mean, I'm pleased that we show ambition and we're going for someone like Jonathan David. But the thing is, Jonathan David, he can't play in the team that we're playing now or the style that we're playing now because we won't give enough chances. He won't get enough service to score enough goals. He would fail. It would be a failure. But that's okay, right? Because next season, we got the book of tactics, the playbook. That's okay. We're going to be scoring loads of goals.